are going to learn is something about MS Excel 365. This is a very quick way we are learning MS Excel, and you can pretty much call yourself that you know Excel after going through this whole video. But before jumping into actually working on hand in Excel, we must clear some concept and jargon. Data actually are plain facts, or is a collection of facts, numbers, words, measurements, observations, anything you see and you can describe or you can communicate to other person is actually data. For example, if I say John Abraham, it's a data. We knew that it's a somebody's name, but whose name you don't know. Other attributes of this John Abraham you don't know. Other related information about this John Abraham you don't know. But it is a data. Okay. When these data are digitalized, we call them digital data. For example, when data has been digitalized in your computer, it's actually represented in binaries, ones and zeros, and thus anything that represented in your computer is actually digital data. Even the pictures which you see are actually representation of ones and zeros. When you are talking about data, there are three states of data. That is data at rest, data in motion, and data in use. When data at rest, it is actually in your computer storage, not being accessed or just staying there. And data in motion is actually being transferred from one location to another location. Even if it is being transferred from your computer hard disk to your computer memory, that is also data in motion. And data in use is, as you can understand, it's being updated, processed, accessed by some system, or read by some system, or by someone. So that data is in use. So you are getting the idea of what the data is, right? Is not has been in a physical structure in that format. That means it has not been represented in a format that is comprehensible to you. Though, like for example, the name John Abraham, you know it's a name because of human intelligence, but for the computer it's nothing. And nor can computer any differentiate between it is a name or is a fruit or anything like that. So data is not structured actually. When data is organized and structured, it's actually called a database. And there are two types of data, then thus structured, and another one is unstructured. Generally, the unstructured ones are generated by humans. Machines too do make unstructured data. Okay, now let's go a little deep and find out what are the unstructured data. Human variety generated, such as mail, social website, mobile number, digital media, photo, audio, video, you name it. There are hundreds. Unstructured data generated by the machines, like scientific data, digital surveillance data, satellite imagery data. These are just examples I am giving you. Beside this, there is also another type that is called semi-structured or polystructured data. What is semi-structured data? Semi-structured data is data that has not been organized into a special repository. That means it has not yet been formed into a database. But you can make something out of it because it has some metadata. Now, what is metadata? Metadata is actually a set of data that describes and gives you information about other data or relevant information of the said data, thus giving you more context for the data users. Okay, how can you turn a data into information? When data are processed, organized, structured, or presented in a given context so as to make them useful, they are called information. Very simple thing. But you know, the data itself is a very fairly useless thing unless you have processed them or organized them or structured them. So unless you process the data, it cannot be turned into information. Now, what is the database? You can call it in a broad way. Database is an organized collection of data structured information, typically stored electronically in a computer system. Not necessarily a computer system, as because we are dealing with, we are going to learn something about Excel, so we are relating to this as a computer system. But even if you have like a register where you maintain some data in a structured format, so it becomes your database for that purpose. Now, what is database software? Database software is actually have some basic properties which are enumerated here. It could create a database, edit, maintain database files and records, and it enables you access of those files and records easily, creation of those records easily. It can help you give append your more data, that is data entry part, data editing part, updating, reporting. And software can also handle data storage, backup, and reporting, and multi-access control. And every software should have some level of security so that data might not get corrupted very easily. Saying these, can we describe this Excel sheet, which we are going to learn today? Is it a database itself? It's a little complicated to answer, but however, this is what my take on it. What we know about database, it's nothing but a set of data that has been organized. And Excel can store data. So through these fundamental definitions, you can call it a database creation tool or a kind of a database system. When I'm talking of database system, it can be, a definition can be said that it's an integrated collection of related files along with details of interpretation of the data contained therein. Yes, Excel can do this part of the thing, at least in my opinion. What is not Excel? It's not database management system. Database management system is a whole lot another game of field play. To export Excel into that definition is pretty far-fetching. Anyway, let's go back before jumping right into the Excel. Let's understand some part of the data which we'll be using very frequently. The words which we'll be using very frequently while learning Excel. Like, what is a record? Record holds that information about some one specific object in the database in Excel. Each cell in a worksheet contains one item or information value. And what is a cell in Excel? I will just continue with that. What is a row in an Excel? Each record consists of one row in a Excel. Now you can sort, analyze this data. What is a column in Excel? Column is actually Excel. Each part of the field part of the data is Excel. That is, field part is represented vertically in Excel. Then the row part is represented horizontally in Excel. And note, this all horizontal part of the field part, when combined together, forms a record in an Excel. And now let's go back to the cell part, which I have left earlier. What is a cell in Excel? Actually, it's the intersection of rows and columns. The intersection, which gives you particular data of rows and columns, is actually called a cell. And you can define the cell in Excel by combination of this row number and column header number. Before jumping into the actual Excel, just sum up the small thing, which I will be referring to very frequently. That is a record and a field. Is a record which is actually a specific data information like about a particular employee or product. A field is about one aspect of that table subject, or the first name, like a name or an email address or someone's age or someone's skin color, someone's eye color, things like that. To start Excel, we can go to the start button and manually search out the Excel application, or for me the easiest way is just search over here for Excel. This is Excel 365. Excel application has been opened. we can see there are a host of templates. You can play around these templates, which are pretty good. If you cannot locate your desired template, you can search from here. So for example, I want to search for sales. So it will give you its output, and find your own desired template, and you can open it up and start working on it. But since we are to start learning Excel, so we are not going to lose our focus on these things, and let's start with a new document. That is a fresh blank document. Once you click over here, a fresh blank screen is given to you. First thing to notice about Excel, there is a thing called Sheet 1. And this Sheet 1 can be increased. Increased in the sense, you can add a Sheet 2, Sheet 3, Sheet 4, Sheet 5, and so on. Individually, these are called electronic spreadsheets. And when you group them together, that is Sheet 1, 2, 4, 5, this is called workbook. That's the Excel concept. So what basically you are looking at now is an electronic spreadsheet to hold and store your data. There is an important thing to say over here. Once you start storing your data, it should be done in an atomic form. That means you should not write data in this way. Suppose there is a name, there is an age and sex, and there is pin code. Now suppose your name is T. Roy, age is 32 / and pin code is 72. And for example, there is S. Kumar, age is 44, now this is a data where there is a field called name, under which you have T. Roy, S. Kumar, age, sex, his age is 32, sex is male, pin code is here. Similarly, S. Kumar, age is 42, male, pin code is here. This is not a good form of representing the data. What you should have done is name, age, sex, pin code. This is the correct representation of formatting of this data, because each data is represented in a separate field, which is useful in further processing of the data. So this is an atomic form of data. You always try to represent your data in an atomic form, and this is wrong. This should not have been there. This is the right, it's okay data. Hope you got the idea. Let's get familiarized with some of the things which are presented to us over here. These are the toolbars. Obviously, you can see this is the home toolbar. This is the insert toolbar, page layout toolbar, formula toolbar, data toolbar, review toolbar, view toolbar, and so on. We're going to keep things simple, very pretty basic, because we want to start working right away. This Excel, we have two things to notice. This is, these individuals are cells, and these cells can be addressed. Like this is a D column. This is a column in Excel. And now suppose I've written something over here, test. Now since this is D column and test is written in which row, that is 3, so you can see in this corner there is written D3, right? I hope you got it. This is written D3. So in our cell D3 we have a text of test. Okay. Another thing to notice in Excel, once you write something, if you want to edit this part, you cannot do right away like a word editing thing. You need to have the cursor inside this cell. To get the cursor inside this cell, we have two options. One is to press F2. So you will see the blinking cursor over here. Another thing is to locate your point out your cell, that is D3, and then in this formula bar you can see the test 01 is written. When we want to change it to test 02, so we can directly click on that formula bar and type test 02. What will happen if I try to write over this cell? It will get overwritten. So to edit, you need to press F2 or go over to the formula bar and click and do your required editing. Okay, this part is done. Now this is the cell address. Now suppose I have some data over here. Okay, I have written some data over here around these cells, and you can see once I highlight these cells, you can see this cell, this is a range of cell, okay, and this range of cell can be addressed as B3. I'm writing it over down here, B3 colon G5. So this thing can be represented in this word. This is a range of data which are represented through this way. This is the address of this range of data. For example, B3 is the address of this test1, E3 is the address of this test2, master2 address is E5, right? I hope you got it. So when I say D3 to G5, so this represents this whole text. This can be highlighted by using your mouse. Click on this first cell, drag your mouse to the desired location and end it. Now you can rename this range of cell. Suppose this range is actually represented in D3 colons G5. Now this can be renamed. How can we rename? This is my sample data, for example. Just go over to this cell where the addresses are generally shown. Just write sample data. That's it. Now, even if I am here and I write something, some text. This is in cell A1. If I select sample data, it will go to here. So you understand the concept of range, I hope, and renaming a range. Okay. Let's clear this thing and let's move on to mapping of data. What I'm going to do over here is plot a simple sale chart. For example, I have item to sell, quantity of that item, price of that item, and year of sale. let the items be. Now notice over here, the year of sale has extended beyond this F margin. How can you fix that? You can fix that by double clicking over here. The margin gets adjusted. Or suppose the margin is still here, you don't want this margin to be extended because something want to rename the column in a fixed manner. What you can do is click on the cell and wrap text. Okay. Okay, now let's proceed with some data. Similarly, you can even adjust by double clicking here, you can adjust this way. Similarly, by double clicking here, you can adjust the height of the rows also. Okay. Now the items are, which we want to represent in this chart. Items are, let's assume, cap, quantity sold. Let's rename it quantity sold. And now suppose I have written quantity sold. I want to add another column over here, which will represent the quantity in inventory. How can you do that? Is click on this column, right click, and just insert. If you do insert, it's always going to insert on the left hand side. Okay. So this is the items, the fields. These are the fields: item, quantity, sold, price, year of sale. And these are the quantity in stocks and sale of stuff. Now you can see this data is there, but we can little beautify this thing. And by the way, let's first, after you created this document, we should also save the document. To save the document, the easiest way is File, Save, and you save it to your desired place. Give it some name. Test Excel. That's it. And we can also a little bit beautify this, the whole thing is through just select this thing to make it bold. You can use this thing, or you can press Ctrl B. Select this thing, make it bold, or you can color this whole heading. Let's fill up the things with some soothing color, and you can fill up this thing with some other soothing color, and these are your data. You can turn on the grid pattern through this all borders. Let's make a total of these things. Let's make a total quantity we have in stock. To add this total, which is called Autosum. Autosum is here. Just click Autosum. This Excel is intelligent enough to know where there are numerical values, and it will catch up. Alternatively, what you could have done is, which is a basic childish thing, is equal to, write equal to, then locate this cell which is of this cap, that is D4. Just on clicking here, you will get that is D4. Then again plus, then go to the next cell below D4, that is D5, and so on. Once you have done this, just press enter, you will get the total. So you can understand this formula, which you can see over here, does the same thing as this. But this looks pretty smart. Even you can manually type it down. Suppose you want to calculate the total quantity of items sold, just write sum and select the range of the cell. You can start using the mouse and select, or you can start using your cursor through the arrow keys and shift and press down, shift, press down, shift, press down until you are last cell. Once you are there, just press enter. Formula will get completed automatically. Else, what you can do is take your cursor over here into this cell and close the bracket. That's it. So now you know how to calculate the total of some range of cell, or calculate individually. The amount of sales, you can add another column here, amount of sales done. For this, you again need your formula. Press equal to, quantity sold is 45. What is the price per item? Is 50. And there you go. So you can see over here the total actual formula. To multiply, we use this star. Okay. Excel is also smart enough to understand that if you have done this formula in this fashion, on double clicking you will get to see this formula. Okay. Or pressing F2, you get to see this formula. Excel is smart enough to know this is a formula, since you have given an equal to sign. Now, to do the rest of the thing, either we can do it manually, like way we did, that is equal to this into this, or we can just copy this thing, that is Control C, and shift drag your cursor, the arrow keys, till your last item, the required item, and press enter. Or you can do individually, is copy, then paste, Control V, Control V, Control V, paste, 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 paste. Okay. So now you know how to replicate formulas automatically. Now what you have to do further is just add up this whole thing and you get the total sales done in last 2 years. Sum. That's it. So now you know this is your total sales. Let's beautify it a bit. To view the data in another representation. Okay. For that we don't require this part as of now, so I'm going to delete it. How to delete a data in Excel? Or delete this whole column, that is this thing. On the border of this column, go click with your mouse and then right click, and then just on the context menu just delete it. Similarly, for the column, if you don't want this column over here, all you have to do is go to the B, click with your mouse, then right click again, and then in the context menu just delete it. You got the idea, I hope so. Suppose I want to see all the sales that has been done in year 2020. All you have to do is go to this, the first field column, field row, and highlight them and use filter. Once you have done the filter, there you will see a drop down indicator appearing in all the field columns which you have selected. You see this drop down is this arrows are actually technically is called drop down menu. Now what we have to do is, from the years of sale, we just select it and we will just tick on the 2020. So now you can see all the 2020 data is now being visible to me, and the 2021 data has been hidden out of my site. Now you can see a total amount of sales done. And if I want to know the total of this sales done, what we can do is alternatively write sum and select this range of cells. It will give me the total of the cell. Or what we can do is just select this cell and highlight the whole of this data. And once you have done that, just go to your status bar. In this corner you can see the total sum is 20040. How many items are also there is being shown. There is 6 numbers of item in sales. Okay. Now we can do the other thing also. For example, I want to do 2021, and here comes your new sales figure, and here you can see the total is this. Okay, filtering of the data is done. How to remove this filtering? No issues, just select the field data and click the filtering. It's a toggle button kind of thing. That is, once you click it's on, once you click it's off. Okay, we got your original data back. While person is doing some editing around this topic, around this chart, now look, if I scroll up, the header goes away. There's the field part goes away. How to fix that thing? For the fixing of that thing is, you need to freeze this part. To freeze, just go to the view, freeze panes, and just do this. From the cursor we have pasted the left of the row and the top of the column will be freezed. Now let's scroll up. Even if you go this way, I hope you got the idea. How to unfreeze? Nothing, just go to the place where you started and over here just unfreeze it. You can do manual sorting also. So, for example, I want to sort all my items alphabetically. For that, before sorting, you have to select all these columns that are required to be sorted from their column numbers, column alphabets, A, B, C, D. How we do that? Just take your mouse, click over here, and then drag all the columns you need to sort. After doing that, go to your sorting field and sort A to Z. You see, all the balls are together, bats are together, caps are together in an alphabetical format. Since it was in alphabetical item, so it was done in this way. If you want to sort something in numerical way, you can be done. For example, total sales, I want to sort it in smaller to greater way. the least cells first, the higher cells later. For that, you can go to the sort A to, just a minute, go to custom sort, and sort not by items, this time you sort by amount of sales done, smallest to largest or largest to smallest, choice is yours. I am going for smallest to largest, and done. Sorting part is also done. Remember, this item is called formula bar. So if you want to have a total around here, and to add up this thing, all you have to do is go to the formula bar or go to your cell, write equal to, write sum, open up, use your mouse or the arrow key and select your range, close it. You can see the formula bar, the same thing has been typed over what I have typed over here, and press enter. To do the total sales, just copy this thing, Excel is smart enough, and go and over here and paste it, Control V. We are now going to do some base useful functions which Excel is famous for. Date is has a lot of features inbuilt in it. Like if you want to give the date over here, let's introduce another column over here, date of sales. Let's do it over here, and let's delete this date of sale. We will be doing some work with this thing. By the way, have you noticed this thing? This all the value items are towards aligned towards the right hand side, and the text aligned towards the left hand side. If you don't like this, you can change the alignment also according to your desire. Let's put them in the middle. For that, you have to use this alignment tab, alignment settings, and from the home tab. Okay. There is another aspect of Excel, that is you can format these cells. The way to do is just select the cell, right click it, and format cells. Once you have done it, it will going to give you a menu from where you can define these things. Suppose now this cell is now represented in general format. You can change it to a number format by clicking on number, and even you can specify the number of decimal places you want to add to it. Similarly, you can do this thing, right click, format cell, and number. Here we can give 2 decimal places, format cell. Even the alignment is also there. You can align the cell, wrap a cell, merge a cell, shrink to fit. If the cell is the text of the amount of the cell is too big to fit inside the cell, Excel will automatically shrink it to bring its size down and set it within the limit of the cell, so within the boundaries of that cell. There is font also, borders also. You can change. So, for example, I want to give the, let me select this part. I want to give a dotted border over here. Now it's a solid borders over here. I want to change it to a dotted border. Right click, format cell. First go to none, and then we select this thing, and this, and this. Okay. Now you can see these are the solid formats for solid borders, and this is the dotted borders. Through right click, you can do a lot of jobs for formatting and alignment and other kind of thing. You can even give some protection to the cell, that is, you can lock them, hide them. These things are there. You can even color the cells from here also. If you want to print this thing, what all you have to do is go to File, then Print, and over here is the item. You can select the mode of printing, that is orientation, the landscape, whatever mode you want, and select the letter size, page size, which is generally A4, and then you can print it. You select it, the printer's name, you can print it through the printer. If you want to save it in PDF format, all you have to do is go to Microsoft Print PDF and print it, and it will be asking for a file name, and you're good to go. These are the date item. So for suppose today you are doing some, you have to do some hundreds and thousands of entries. So every time you to write this date is conversion. What you can do for getting the today's date is write today. Sorry. That's it. You got your today's date. That is that. Take the date from your system and put it out. Easy part is you don't have to write it every time. Once your formula has placed the formula in one of the cell, just all you do is copy and then paste. Similarly, you have some item for time also. Now, we'll make it a little bigger. Same thing, just copy and paste. Now there is another function called date, which we can use to represent some data into a date. Like, for example, I write over here is day, month is year. I write it over here is 15, month is 5, year is 2022. Now to combine this thing in a single format, you can write date, this is my year, this is my month, this is my day. So you got the idea. I'm going to use the function date. There is another function called days, that is, which returns the number of days between two dates. For example, over here we have a date, and I introduce another date today, and we use the function today, and we just copy it down and use the day function. We introduce a column, and from here we can write days for that. You have to use the formula days, end date is this, and my starting date is this. That's it. Can we change this into days, years, months? Yes, we can. And for that, the formula is that's why. Okay, let's do it. You got the idea. For example, I can drag and select all these things, number of days. Similarly, you can drag and select all these things. How many days have elapsed since their last sale for that item. Anyways, now let's move on to the next function. The function which we use frequently is SUMIF. It's called SUMIF. SUMIF, this is my range. Criteria is let's say BAT, and some range is amount of sale done, and let's close this thing. Now you can see some total has been given, BAT. Let's now locate it manually and see if this is all right. This BAT, one of the BAT sales I can locate is here, this much, plus next BAT sale is around here, this much. Do you have any other BATs? No. You can see it's pretty much spot on. Now let's change this thing once again and do it with suppose gloves. Instead of BAT, what I do is just type down GLOVES, gloves, and my I think I have misspelled it. Yeah, ULPES, gloves. It's showing this much. Let's physically check it out. Equal to, let's look at the first gloves. First glove is here, plus where is another, next one is here, and see, yes, it's spot on. Let's do some subtraction. Subtraction is, these are just mathematical functions which you should know in Excel, so I'm saying them. Now suppose there is a data difference of the sale, inventory still in stock. In hand. For that we have to do some subtraction. To do subtraction, same thing, equal to quantity less items sold. Okay, now since here you have seen it's turned into some date format, because last item which was here was date, and the Excel thinks that item is still there. So I have deleted the date, but the formatting of that item has been kept as it is. So easy way around is just to delete this whole cell and redo it. Quantity sale, total quantity less sale, and similarly just copy and paste all the other things. That's it. So you can see the formula. This is this. Suppose in this inventory still in hand, what is the maximum amount of inventory I have for a particular item, which you can use to find the formula max. And from that, just give it the total range. You can see from all these items, this 680 is the biggest figure over here. So from this formula, the max item reported that this is the biggest item you have over here. Similarly, for the smallest item, spin, select and give your range. 60 is the minimum item which you have here. Okay. Now suppose this is the total sales. What is the average sales of this whole data? For that we have a formula called AVE, average. Just select and give your range. It will give you some average data. In Excel, there is another thing which is called count, number of items, which we can see over here clearly. Now suppose if I select all this thing, which gives me sum total of this, also this count. This can be done through formula also, count. Formula is pretty simple, just equal to count, and you select your range That's it. Now suppose this data is not here. What count does is it skips all non-numeric part. If there is nothing numeric over here, it deletes that, omits that part for into its consideration. If there is some data missing over here, that is non-numeric data, any numeric data is not missing over here, it omits that part. So last time, since it was, let's go back a step, it was showing 12, now I deleted this data, now it's showing 11. Suppose over here you have written something to be calculated later. So there are 11 parts, but we have written one item as to be calculated later. But it's still ignoring the thing because it's a non-numeric. It's a text part. How to calculate that part also is count A. Count A. Just count A and select your thing, items. Again, it's 12 is back. You can use another function which you can use is count if, which is actually gives you a criteria to count some items. Now suppose I want to count all the racket and the quantity in stock. What you have to do is count if, you have to select the range, which is this, and the criteria is racket. So you see how many rackets are there? There are 2 types of racket. There is an item, there is a function called large, which can be used to find out our desired position item. Okay, desired position means which is the highest item to sell, or which is the second highest item to be sold over in this chart, which you can find out using this function large open array. Over here means the record. This is my sales array, and here I want to find out the top item that has already been sold. Let's see, we place it 1 and see, it's 450. 450 is this one, right? This is the top item that has been sold. Maximum number of items is sold. What is if I want to find out the second best top item? All you have to do is copy this function, and instead of writing 1 over here, we will edit it to 2. Now let's see over here. Yes, bat is the second most sold item over here. We want to find out the third most sold item. Just same thing, change it to 3. Yes, this racket is this third most sold item over here. So you got the idea of the function that could be used for large. There is another function called sum product, which is similar to this, doing all this job, that is multiplying this into this and getting this output, and then finally summing them up, which can be done at a one go, is using through sum product. Let's do it. Our formula is sum product array 1. Array 1 is our quantity sold, and we're going to multiply it through price per item. And let's close it. You can see the total sales figure is here, this, but over here it is showing different because something is missing over here. All you have to do is enable it and just the total figure comes the same. So it's a much smarter way of calculating sum product without using these individual items. Okay, that way we have done with the sum product. Now next is let's say let's do some string functions. String means till now we have been working with date and numbers. Now let's work with some text material. Okay. Okay, now we have got some names. Now there are some string functions in Excel which can help you to manipulate with these letters. For example, I want to add these names, like this name, the first one, Samuel Joker Jackson, into a single cell. How do do that? All you have to do is this, select the cell, ampersand, give a space. You can add space by using double quotation, then a space bar space, and then double quotation, and then again ampersand, then this Joker, again this ampersand, then introduce a space in between them, and again ampersand, and this Jackson. So you got it, Samuel Joker Jackson. Now if the name is Muhammad AKHTAR Akhtar Hussain, I want to isolate this Akhtar part. I want to take out this Akhtar from this whole lot of text. What you have to do is just MID, this is the text, and I have to give him the range. What here range I means I give him the start of the number from where I want to cut the name. Now suppose this Muhammad is MD dot 3 characters and the space, that is Akhtar. That is 4 characters. So I will start from the 5th character. How many characters I want to cut off from there? I want to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because Akhtar is AKHTAR, is the 6 characters. So I could cut 6 and close the bracket. Let's see. Now suppose I want to add 2 letters. We can use that thing also using a formula called concatenate. This text plus, sorry, what is under this text, comma, let's give a space, comma, this text. Okay. What would have happened if I have not given this space? Let's try it out and check it out. You see, Rabindranath Tagore came together. So it's better to give a space in between them. Okay. Now this is another thing. If you notice this Robert Albert Isaac, what we can do is, so it may happen sometime that after writing Robert or before writing Robert, you may have introduced a space inadvertently, or after writing this Albert, like there's already a space over there. Cursor should have been here, but cursor ends at here. So now if I use this thing, this formula, what would happen? It would have multiple spaces in between. Let's check it out. You see, there's a space before Robert, there's a space, 2 spaces after Albert. How to eliminate this kind of problems? We can eliminate this kind of problems is through using some words through functions like trim robot. So you can see this space has been gone, has been removed. Now again trim Albert, trim open bracket Albert. There is a lingering space of the Albert after the word Albert is also gone over here. Are you sure this has been gone? You can check it out. How? By concatenating these two items. Concatenate open this plus this, this comma this. If there would have been space, then there would be gap. If there is no space, there will be no gap. So you can see over here, it's a proof that trim has removed spaces. We can cut data from any part of the text of a cell. For that, we have to use some functions called left. You select the source of the data, that is over here. Suppose we take this thing as source of data, and now suppose I wanted to cut 10 characters from this letter. All I have to do is like 10, and what we would do is take 10 characters from the left and terminate the rest. Okay. Similarly, if I want to cut the right side part of the data, all you have to do is write open source of my data, number of characters from the right. I want to cut 5 characters. Hope you're getting the idea. How many letters are there in this character? In this cell? We can count that thing using the function len. There are 21 characters over here, including the spaces. Okay, and now suppose I want to find the word Akhtar. You can use the function find Akhtar from this text starting from first letter. So you can see Akhtar starts from fifth letter. So it's a very useful thing when we want to locate some particular item in a string of text. And perhaps the last thing that we would do in this whole item is Vlookup. Vlookup is an Excel function which helps us to look a corresponding value of some item. For example, if you want to look at the quantity sold of item ball, what we can do is we can write down ball over here and locate the ball manually. There is a second place, and we go along with the ball and quantity sold column, where we find it is 120. So we can manually write it 120. What Vlookup does is replaces this manual process. For example, this is the function Vlookup open bracket lookup value. Lookup value is this ball, right? We select this ball. Now the table of array. The table of array, we can select the whole table or the required part till which we need. That's it. For me, it's enough. And next, the column index. Column index over here means column. This is column 1, 2, and 3 of the table, of the defined table or array of table. So over here we can put 3. Now the range lookup. Range lookup is actually nothing, that is exact lookup or approximate lookup, near value. So for exact lookup we give 0. That's it. So we get a item of this ball whose quantity sold is 120. Now if you want to look for racket, just all you have to do is change this value of this identifier racket, and you can see the racket is reflected over here is 225. Let's check it manually. Racket was the racket is here, and here is 225. This is the data we have in hand, and what we can do is we can produce a graph from this. First thing is select this whole table, and then we go to the insert, there's a chart, different kinds of chart over here we have. We can select go for recommended, or we can select our own chart. So let's suppose we want to do this kind of chart. Yeah, let's go for this one. Once you decided upon your chart, and then we proceed from there, write OK, and the chart is placed in this position, and it is adjustable. You can resize your chart also here, or you can place your chart accordingly to your suitability. Let's see, and we can do some customization on this chart also, like chart title. Let's give it call it sales chart. The legends over here is written. We can change or edit the legends, which you can tinker around later and save. And the video, I'm going to end the video over here. And I don't think you require anything more to get started with your Excel journey. If you like it, then please do put on a like button. It would encourage me. That's it. Thank you.